Well, hello there, crypto fans. Dick Allgire here. You know, I've got something serious to talk about when I have my reading glasses on crooked. I didn't script this out, but I've got a few notes. I'll meander a bit. Nano diamond dust and tracking you will be happy, but you'll own nothing. I've got a lot of things to talk about, a lot of interesting things. Also, the blow-off of the US dollar, the plummeting of other major currencies around the world. There's a lot going on. In my last segment, I did an interview with Bix Weir, and he mentioned the new silver coins that have a notch in them, and there is apparently going to be diamond dust embedded in the notch in the silver coins. And we were speculating about that being a means to track you. So I did a little research. I talked to some of my sources about nano diamond dust. Very interesting realm of science. There are a lot of published articles, peer-reviewed science on this. Let me read a couple. This from Advanced Functional Materials Journal. Programmable biopolymers for advancing biomedical applications of fluorescent nanodiamonds. Wow. Another one, optical imaging of localized chemical events using programmable diamond quantum nanosensors. What are programmable diamond nanosensors? Quantum nanosensors. Is there some science going on that we haven't been told about? And one more. Nanodiamonds, from synthesis and purification to deposition techniques, hybrids, fabrication, and applications. And that's just the open source stuff. What are they doing behind the scenes? So, nanodiamonds, nanodiamond dust. What will it be used for? Well, we have a pretty good idea. It will be used as part of the Internet of Things, which is coming. Everything is going to be tokenized, tracked, traced, and followed, and taxed, including you. You're going to be a node on the Internet of Things. So this diamond dust, the nano, what did they call it? Fluorescent nanodiamond quantum nanosensors. That dust can take information from its surroundings and transmit it using the energy that it absorbs from its surroundings. That's you and me. So you get a little something from Amazon. It's got a little dust on it, and that dust will use your energy to track and trace. That's where we're headed. You know, folks, you're not going to need a chip in you. The little rice-sized chip that they want to embed in your wrist, that is so last century. That is so old-fashioned. They don't need that. They just have nano diamond dust. The Internet of Things. Oh, okay, you will own nothing and be happy. I saw some predictive programming. I was watching a baseball game the other night, and there was a advertisement for a new Volkswagen. Let me play it, and then we'll talk about what they're telling you. Here's the ad.
Coming?
Not coming. Let me take you out, downtown tonight. Let me take you out.
The 2022 Volkswagen Taos. German engineering everyone can get into, starting at $23,495.
By the way, the music in that advertisement, that repetitive eighth note, do 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 do, the bass line. I noticed that some years ago with millennial music, Gen Z music, Gen X. Do 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 do. I could play. I'm a musician. I could play bass in any band. I could learn all their songs in one night. It's just eighth notes going do 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 do. That is programmable stupidity. It's an entrainment to entrain you to become less aware, less intelligent. If you hear that beat in any music, do 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 do, either leave the area or turn it off. It does you no good. It's programming you to be stupid. All right? Listen to it one more time and see what I mean. Okay. If the message was a lot of different types of people like to drive our Volkswagen, why wouldn't you show like the biracial couple driving a gray Volkswagen, and then we have the older lady driving a red one, you know, like different ones, different, like, oh, so many people drive our cars that they all own them. No, it was different people driving the same car. And if you notice, you start with the diverse couple, and they're driving down the road, and then they get out, and then this older lady gets in, and then she drives to a hip new joint, and she just gets out and leaves the car, and the young hipster, the young millennial, or no, not millennial, he would be a Generation Z, the Gen Z guy gets in and drives off. What is the subliminal message there? Is that no one owns the car. You will own nothing and you will be happy. In the future, we suspect, we're pretty sure that this was what will happen, is your car will read you biometrically, and there will be blockchain permission for you to drive the car. It's like, well, 7:15, my friend and I need to use the Volkswagen, so it comes to your door, and then you get in, and it bioauthenticates you, and you drive off, and then you just leave it there, and the next person that is renting it for that time using blockchain technology, tokenized payment, taxed and traced, gets in the car, and it biometrically authenticates him or her, and she drives off, and then the next person, and it just goes on and on like that. So you don't own the car, but you have access to it. I did a remote viewing where I saw a future where you don't own like a chainsaw or a weed whacker or a lawnmower or a tile saw or anything. You just, if you need it, you rent time on it, and it will just be laying there, and it won't work unless it bioauthenticates your access to that thing. We're going into a really, really interesting time. Inflation and interest rates. The dollar is just, it went parabolic today. And our great technical analyst, Marty Hibbs, has been predicting this. He's predicted every move in the dollar for the past 3 years. I had a conversation with him for our private site, patreon.com/CryptoViewing. Let me play a little bit where we were talking about the dollar and the British pound. It's our weekly update with Marty Hibbs, and the bowling pins are all set up, and the bowling ball is rolling down the lane.
Oh, it's looking good. Love it. Love it. Loving it. Yeah.
So what's up, Marty?
Well, the dollar is up, that's for sure. Now,
wow.
Is this not
that's
looking,
really
yeah, is this not looking
parabolic?
Yeah, beautiful.
That's
now
we haven't seen that in a while.
We haven't. And we've been talking about this for a long time. So here is our major. When I say major, let me pull this up here. I gotta get my charts organized. I should be more organized. Let's get rid of that. Okay, so here's what we've got here going on. We have a guy that can't use the computer is what we have. You have this situation here, which is basically your trend line, right? Yeah. And let's put it in place and leave it. Click the button, Marty. Okay, and then from there, okay, we have this thing here we refer to as a speed line, which means it's now leveraged up and it's got a new trend line. Main trend is here. This is the speed line. But we mentioned in my video a couple of days ago, now we're going where we start to go parabolic. And from here, it would look a little bit like something like this.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, don't get too excited too fast, because again, I still believe these numbers we have here, around 15 even, I think we could pull back here. And what I'd like to see, I'd rather prefer to see is a check back here, back even to somewhere around the 108 level, or maybe not quite that far, maybe even lower. Because if we continue for the next day or two, my short-term indicators are suggesting blow off, meaning short term, and then we're going to get a nastier, more prolonged correction that could go a bit deeper and it could last weeks. I don't think that's going to happen, but I do expect right now that we're going to get a pullback in the next day or two. If we do get the pullback, it's like the that 30-second period they have between boxing in boxing matches, where the guy goes to his corner, gets some water sprinkled on him, and he's ready to go again.
They wave something under his nose for him to breathe. Like, get back in there, champ.
Exactly. So this is exactly, I'm very proud of these. I can go back and look at all of our videos for 2 years. We've been calling this dollar very accurately. So again, what this means is I believe we're going to do the parabolic thing, but we could get a correction first. Otherwise, it's going to end very fast. And I don't think that's going to happen quite that fast. So our next target, once we get back here and head up, we have one just around the 120. And then we're looking at maybe 140. So this could get really ugly. People think, oh, it can't do that. Well, here's what's happening. Anyone that's been watching what's going on overseas, Dick, here is the British pound chart. Have a look at this puppy. This is one major trend line that we hit today, and it's already popping a bit. But I have a target here right around just below this $1 level, and I believe we're going there. So again, I think there's a lot of things going on in Europe. And you got to remember, guys, there's just so many talking points we can talk about this dollar. The fact that it's a reserve currency, everybody knows that. Anybody that knows about emerging countries that they are building their infrastructure, most of their loans are in US dollars, which means the debt has to be paid back in US dollars, which means the countries have to buy US dollars to pay back the debt. So there's a huge demand for US dollars. And as everything else is failing, the other thing is that people are looking and saying, wow, I'm getting my money out of this country. I'm moving it to the safest place we know, which is the US market.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you something, Mark. That is startling to see the US dollar going straight up and the pound going straight down. Does this indicate the failure of fiat monies worldwide, but the last gasp of fiat dollars, like they're all going to shit, but the US dollar is going to go to shit last. So everybody's huddling in the US dollar, thinking, yeah, we'll find some safety there.
Exactly. But you got to remember, it's like, I don't know how to describe this, come up with a quick analogy, but if you can imagine 10 ships in the ocean and every one of them are sinking, but there's one that's much bigger than all the rest of them, and everybody's
going to sink slower.
Yeah,
you're all going to go get on board that.
Right? That's the Titanic. So they may get on board, but it's no safer than the rest of them.
The full conversation with Marty is at our private site, patreon.com/CryptoViewing. But don't join that because it's the last week of the month. If you join today, and do not join today, if you buy a membership today, it'll only last until the 30th, and they'll charge you again at the first of the month. So never join our private site at the end of the month. There'll be good new stuff October 1st. We think October 1st is going to be an interesting time. My credit union I'm getting rid of all the odds and ends today. I've got so much to talk about. My credit union sent me an ad saying, hey, interest rates are going up. You can make some money by depositing some money with us. So the banks are going to be luring you in like, hey, as the Federal Reserve raises the interest rates, we can give you 4%. Like, buy a certificate of deposit, you'll make 4%. Well, inflation is at 8% and more, so you'll only be losing half your money. Anyway, that's the news today. Nanodust. Whew. Interesting stuff. We are living in the transition to a new system of a new financial system, a new system of administration of the human populace. This is a really interesting time to be alive, and we're documenting it. So please subscribe and please give us a comment. We read your comments. I'd like to hear what you think of this one. Aloha.